Wisp Sports Radio, the voice of women in sport.
Hello and welcome to episode 14 of Sound Bites on Wisp Sports Radio. Sound Bites is a bi-weekly podcast providing you with practical information on holistic nutrition. On each episode, we feature a new topic to empower you to make healthier choices so you can improve your overall health, performance, and prevent disease. Welcome to episode 14 of Sound Bites with your host, MC. Today I'm going to answer a question by one of my clients, which I think it's an amazing question because I think this will help a lot of people who are currently struggling with finding their target race weight, percentage of body fat, and how you come up with that number. Now, whether you are someone who's struggling with that or you know someone who's struggling with that, I highly encourage you to listen to this episode because I will share with you 4 different steps and a few tips that you can start implementing so that you get a better understanding of what that means and what I personally recommend so that you can achieve that. The first step, which I personally don't believe it's the most important, but I do believe it is required, is determining your exact caloric intake. Now, the most important thing here is knowing the distribution of macronutrients, which are carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. The reason for that, it's because those are going to give you the fuel that you need and are going to help you in performance and recovery as well. Now, micronutrients, vitamins, minerals, and all of that, it's also going to be extremely important. But once you have a good macronutrient distribution percentage, is going to sort of be like everything's going to be done for you and you're not really going to have to be worrying about those additional details. So what you have to understand though is that finding a number, it's not going to be enough. Whether it is you ask your friend what they're eating, how many calories they're eating, how they determine that. The reason I say it's not going to be enough, it's because most formulas are going to be pretty general. And numbers, you should know that they're only going to be a foundation because everybody is different and you have to find out what works for you personally. So you obviously want to play with the numbers until you find what works for you. Now, if you're overweight, you know that that number needs to go down. The only way to lose weight is with calorie restriction. You cannot expect to be eating the same and lose weight. And it goes the other way around as well. If you're underweight and you find that you being underweight is affecting your performance, you have to make sure those numbers go up. It doesn't matter if it doesn't match the formula. It might mean that you're burning more calories than you think you are. So it is important, again, that you play with those numbers and that you don't stress if you're going up or down, depending on what works for you personally. Now, step number 2, which I actually believe is the most important, is health is always first. When you focus on health, the weight will come off automatically. And I am living proof of that. Now, I know this is pretty general because you might be asking, okay, what does healthy mean? Our society has been corrupted and a lot of people don't even know what healthy means anymore. And I completely agree with that. This is actually one of the reasons why I started studying nutrition, just because I didn't know what healthy meant. So this actually leads me to step number 3, which is tracking. Tracking is going to be your friend, and tracking is extremely important when you're trying to improve your health. What you track improves. And when it comes to tracking, I personally recommend to don't look at every single detail. Just keep it simple. And what I personally recommend is that you ask the following questions until you get a clear understanding of what works for you personally. And those 2 questions is, how much did I eat? How did it make me feel? Now, this second question, how did it make me feel? you generally want to wait 20, 30 minutes up to an hour, maybe even 2 hours, because you have to wait for the food to be digested to see how you feel. But maybe how did you feel during your workout? Now, this is a question that I believe a lot of people forget to ask, and they just eat what they think they should be eating, but they never stop and ask themselves if they have the energy, if they had good digestion, if they had good performance. Now, the how much, it's also important so that you know that if what you're eating, it's actually enough or if you need to increase it. Now, there's a bunch of apps, which I will go ahead and add apps that I recommend that you use just so that you understand. Now, I don't recommend that you use them for forever. Just use them so that you can learn that, I'm going to say in quotation, perfect number that works for you.
A world of triathlon from the sports dynamic duo. Listen to the Siri and Beck Show on Wisp Sports Radio.
Now, the last step, which I also think this is something that a lot of people overlook, is blood work. I cannot emphasize this one enough. As endurance athletes, we are in constant stress because of the amount of exercise that we do. Now, a lot of people might think, well, I'm working out, I'm eating healthy, why should I need blood work? You might be overlooking symptoms that require attention because you are so focused on performance or on whatever it is that you are focusing on at a time that you might, again, be overlooking something that requires attention, especially if you are type A. And let's say, for example, you're hurting, so you decide to rest for a couple of days, you feel a little better, and then you go right back. And I'm going to tell you that this might not be the smartest thing to do if you want to live a healthy and long life, just because it's very important for you to realize that health should always come first, again, because everything will automatically become better once you focus on your health. The last couple of tips I want to give you today, which I think this one's very important, is that your most attractive body might not be your racing weight. Skinny does not mean healthy. Now, you may look amazing on the outside, but you might not be healthy on the inside. And the best way to know your racing weight is by testing or asking yourself, how do you feel during your workout? Are you recovering fast? Are you sleeping well? Are you feeling energized throughout the day, not only during your workout? And by actually taking some time to do that blood work so that you know that you're actually, by numbers, healthy on the inside, not only looking great on the outside, but this is not going to only affect your performance in the long term, but also your health. Now, if you are someone who's actually overweight or obese, just focus on finding ways to cut down the extra calories. And it can be as simple as if you're eating 2 cups of oatmeal, just cutting a half a cup, maybe 1 cup, and see how that works for you. Don't overstress, track what you're eating and reduce it little by little, and that will make a big difference. Also, make sure you're including fat on your meals. I've seen a lot of people completely removing food categories from their lifestyle, which I do not recommend. I believe balance is key, and as an athlete, you need all macronutrients in order to perform to your best self. Another thing is avoid relying on the scale and numbers only, but ask yourself, how do I feel? How do my clothes fit? Take measurements every now and then. Believe me, if you have been relying on the scale and it's not working, I think it might be time to try something different, and trust the process and trust that when you focus on your health, everything will come off automatically. And the last thing, which I believe this is the most important thing for you to always remember, is that you are what you think and that you become what you speak. Watch the way you talk to yourself. Saying negative things will only attract more of what you don't desire in your life. Every day, make some time to thank your body for what it does for you. And you will see a big, big difference, again, because you are what you think and you become what you speak.
Conversations from the world of women's sports. This is Wisp Sports Radio.
I hope you found this helpful, and if you would like more information, please visit my website provided on the show notes. You can also email info@wispsports.com with any questions you may have about nutrition. There will also be links in the show notes accompanying this episode at wispsports.com. Just go to listen and click on Sound Bites, and while you're there, you can also find more conversations from the world of women's sports. Remember to subscribe to Wisp Sports Radio on your favorite podcast player. You can also post your comments and share on social media. Just look for Maricarmen Farias and at Wisp Sports on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thank you for listening and have an amazing day.